and you don't want to necessarily creep cut versus him, especially with the hoodwink. It's a little bit hard to tell, but we'll be seeing here in just a few moments. At the same time, NoPing, all of the Dark Mago S-listers are out. I think taking the Kunkka away from him and then banning out that Batrider is really smart from Hokori. And again, this is another hero that's going to complicate that NoPing initiation.
That's
Oh,
a
they just
fast response.
insta-picked.
Wow, damn.
Oh,
Yeah,
they picked TV. Okay.
fair enough. It
And
was
this is
still in the
why you
pool.
have last pick. This is why you keep yourself as open as this, because now you can slot everything out. Now it's going to be an offlane axe. Now it's going to be a 4 wind, and you get to last pick Terrorblade in Dota 2. That's not allowed. Especially you get to last pick it versus Venomancer. If Vitaly skills up any points in Poison Sting, the Reflection's going to ruin him, basically. So
Yeah,
now you
it's
do have this very interesting situation where is Angel going to be able to get away with his lane and then have a good enough matchup versus the Gyrocopter where it's not going to matter? It's kind of a trade-off. It's kind of a little bit scary because again, if NoPing don't have those very clean, successful team fights, Hokori are a very annoying lineup. They're the kind of lineup that drags you out, waits till after your items are expended, after you've already initiated, and then cleans you up after the fact. And that's something their lineup is really, really good at. So I'm a little bit scared for NoPing, even though they have last pick Terrorblade, which is definitely not allowed. You're not allowed to do that, but they've got it. So we'll have to see what they're able to pull out.
yeah, a bit of a maybe calculated risk for Hokori. That's kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt in that scenario because, to be honest, their final two bans were Bat and Leshrac. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it looked like they weren't even kind of considering carry options with that final pick. So we'll see how they can respond, but certainly an interesting sort of ending to that draft. TB and Veno coming out on each of those sides is, I think there was a brief pause there for a second, but we are back into it now and should be loading into the first game of the day. NoPing sitting at 3-3 in terms of their overall record right now. Hokori just a bit ahead of them at 4-4. So you get a 2-0 here and you basically move into second place. Nobody's catching up to Undying off the back of this series as they're still sitting at 6-0, but second place, shot at an upper bracket spot. Of course, still a couple of days left in the group stage, so maybe we shouldn't be looking that far ahead, but you always want to be in the best position possible as early as possible in these sort of round-robin scenarios. Make sure the pressure's on the other guys. The other teams down at the bottom, they can feel the heat while you just sort of sit back and remain calm, although this is not a great situation here. I believe we may end up having to remake this one as everybody has DC'd.
You know, it's gotta happen once TRS even comes back, peeks his head in, just to be like, hey, are we in here? Are we still here? Yeah, it looks like a remake is most likely going to happen here. I'm still waiting. I'm still biding my time just in case.
Uh, you a long hauler then, ET? Is that what we're doing?
I think until we get any word, it is a little bit awkward. Maybe there was a server mess up or because
Let's
we're
see.
in here, so it's not like the server is irrecoverable, but possibly the players are
Uh,
already having issues connecting.
let's see. Okay, official word is we are gonna do a remake. So looks like we are gonna be trying that one again. Hmm. Yeah. All right. We got ourselves a remake. So we're gonna do all that again. Almost certainly just gonna be an all pick lobby as everyone will pick exactly what they had already chosen, and yeah, and then we'll get back into it. So give us a moment while we set everything back up. ET and I will step away for just a minute. We'll throw the music back on for you and be back for the real start of Game 1 in just a little bit. Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are good to go here on our remake of Game 1. Quick all-pick remake. Everybody's selecting their heroes again, and we are good to go. This time around, everybody successfully connects. So, sorry about the, sorry about the issues at the start there, but every once in a while, Dota has a mind of its own. But we are here, Game 1, getting underway, as... There we go. We will get things started. I'm joined by ET. ET, in here with me, bud?
Yep, right
There
here.
we go. Alright. Always got to make sure you got everybody on board still after a remake. So, we are good, and, well, despite the delay, the same principle is sort of still applying here with this lineup. NoPing able to get that last pick TB into the lineup. And Hokori, well, I don't know. As you mentioned, ET, there are still some concerns for that NoPing lineup. That Terrorblade, while a very, very strong hero, not quite the instant win. Hokori are still going to have some means of trying to keep it contained, but we're going to have to see some pretty excellent execution from them in this match.
Yeah, and that's where you have to wonder how Vitaly is actually going to level up his skill build, because as soon as he gets that Poison Sting, you're going to see Angel immediately reflect him. You're going to wait until both of these heroes skill up in lane before we actually see anyone make a skill point decision, because Angel would love to get meta level 1, just force him off of the first 2 waves. But if he sees that Poison Sting, there's no reason not to start out that Reflection spam. Reflection's just such an efficient spell, especially when you're Poison Stinging yourself on that Venomancer. There really should be no reason for Vitaly to get it. We might see him skip it all the way past to maybe level 8. We'll have to see, because it really makes this Venomancer skill build not feel fantastic, but you kind of have to. You kind of have to still play Veno, and you have to still play like you're laning versus 2 heroes. You're not just laning versus the Terrorblade. But again, that's where we'll see both these laners wait to skill. Just makes too much sense.
Nobody really wants to make that first move here. They're willing to wait it out. But if you're Vitalian, you can't really do the Poison Sting. You do have a bit of an alternative with El Misho in this lane. If you are looking for maybe the Gale play, that could set El Misho up for the Battery Assault into a Cog Trap, as you see him already trying to go to work on Panda, dishing out a little bit of early damage. Panda, though, this is one of the things we talked about in the draft, putting him on a hero that is a bit more adept in terms of early harass. The second he gets hit up, he just throws out the Thunder Strike, and honestly, Vitaly and El Misho kind of take more damage than they dished out.
And that's exactly his style, and Disruptor, it's a reason why they went for it so early. Unfortunately, it lost his courier on the outside here, and Elmisho, being that melee hero, just does so much damage to those level 1 couriers, and
El Misho
he's
actually
actually
hasn't
going to get hit up a little
skilled
bit, but
yet. He doesn't have a point in anything, but at this point, this play's
there's that
kind of
meta.
falling apart. But yeah, Vitaly got pushed back by the meta. Not willing to go toe-to-toe with Angel this early on. Fair enough, but you gotta wonder what the play is from El Misho. He's hoping for an opportunity, but Vitaly, yeah, you might want to get back. He is taking a hell of a lot of damage here. Good play in with the slow, and now Angel's actually getting turned on. El Misho will finally skill up something as the Battery Assault comes out for him, but he doesn't have enough damage by himself, or, well, maybe he does. Angel, gotta be careful. He's holding some wand charges. He will be able to pop him there, and now El Misho's going to get turned on. That should be enough damage with the Thunder Strike to take him down, although the Fairy Fire does make it a bit more complicated. He actually will survive, turns around for the Flare, hoping to sort of catch Angel, but he's already out of range and he was popping the salve. So both sides really just playing with fire there, willing to go down to dangerously low amounts of HP to try and bait their opponents in, but no first blood there.
And now, Vitaly's done it to himself. The
Oh
Reflection
no.
spam comes out, he starts getting Poison Sting, and this is where this lane is going to start to fall apart, because really, they don't have the resources. They need to wait for their couriers. Unfortunately, he had that one big meta hit on the Clock's courier, so you're going to see El Misho running out of supplies pretty soon here. Might see a tactical death coming out from someone in this bot lane, because as of right now, NoPing are in complete safety. They just have too many resources.
And that's just so unfortunate for Vitaly. I think he just makes that move not necessarily out of desperation. I think that's the wrong word, but they thought that they had a shot to get the kill onto Angel. So in that instance, it is going to mess up your lane, but if that Poison Sting damage had been enough to drop Angel down and actually finish him off, then yeah, maybe it's worth sort of setting back your overall laning stance to get that first kill, but...
Look at top. Tiaras is so low.
Oh
He's going to
boy.
get salved up, but this top lane, he's eating a lot of harass. Something that the 4-wind is very good at, especially versus that gyrocopter.
And Matthew hit level 2, hasn't skilled up anything just yet, but, well, really, he has perfect options here. If you go for the power shot, then you can sort of snipe out some of those creeps or just straight up deal damage. Otherwise, the Shackle sets up plays like this, although Oscar, he was sort of fading away when that Shackle comes through. So Gardic is going to take the damage from the right clicks and the Battle Hunger, but really not going to be any sort of follow-up play. And at this point, the Axe actually has no point in the call, so really he's not looking to get too involved in the engagements. He just wants the harass damage. It's actually Matthew who's going to get hit up by that missile, but while they were doing that, down in the bottom lane, Angel does get taken down. Elmisho finishes him off, and then Vitali gets the kill onto Panda as well, but up in the top lane, action everywhere as Gardic does get run down. Oscar able to find the pickoff. Oh, Elmisho just, right, dies to the tower there. Okay.
And I think that was the level 2 Poison Gill. They stepped a little bit too far up in the lane. I believe Pandaboo was also waiting for his courier to deliver a few items and was not feeling safe for the pull, so they get taken out in conjunction with each other. Unfortunately, now this is happening.
Vitali?
Yeah.
Well, he's stuck. Yeah, nowhere to go. Early point up in that kinetic field allows him to set that up. Elmisho does TP in, but, well, too late to actually help out. So Angel actually didn't get the kills in either of those fights, so he's sitting on 2 assists, but that is going to relieve a little bit of that pressure with the Veno now gone, so he's free to use the last third of the duration here on the meta to try and get a couple of extra last hits, and I don't know. He's the low man among the cores right now at 20 last hits. He does have the 10 denies, though, so comparatively speaking, between himself and the Veno, there's really not a crazy difference between the experience between the two, although now Panda, he's going to get jumped in on. There's going to be the Gale. Misho comes in with a battery, and Angel says, sorry, bro, not a lot I can do there. But Misho is, well, he was pushing a little bit further forward, trying to get just the maximum damage out of the battery assault. Worth a try, and the tower shot really wasn't going to affect him too much, but I very much like the pressure we're seeing from Hokori here. It hasn't been perfect. They've lost some heroes. We mentioned Vitali getting picked off just a moment ago, but they're doing their best. They're finding some pickoffs here and there. They're trying to slow down Angel. And, well, they're doing a pretty good job of it now. Good play from Elmisho. In with the Cog Trap. Angel, he is dangerously low. He did pop the wand charges. Will that be enough, though? For now, well, no. He is going to be taken down. Trades himself out for Elmisho. Panda, though, he wants revenge. Vitali gets glimpsed back in. Okay, Panda. Nice job there to sort of...
as well. I don't know.
Did he really?
If he wanted to, he could have maybe popped the 19 stick and tried for the run, but again, he just valued maybe the full reset coming back to base, but you give more soul XP to Pandaboo, and take a look at his levels. He's almost level 6. He has gotten everything out of all these kills. Unfortunately, at the cost of his TV a little bit here, but you're going to have that static storm so much sooner.
Yeah, I mean, levels, Kunkka at 7, Dark Mago sitting at 6, Axe just hit level 6, and then you've got Disruptor sitting at level 5 at the 6.5 minute mark. That is not how this is supposed to go, but Panda's going to make the most of it, and yeah, as you said, having that static storm early, to be honest, it's kind of hard to perfectly predict how that's going to affect it, just because we don't see that ult up that early that often, as Gardic going to get jumped in on here in the top lane. Good rotation in from Dark Mago. Matthew sets it up there with the Shackle as well. Now Tiaras, he's going to have to try and back himself away, even using the call down for the slow, as Analog will TP in. They get the torrent down. The Ghost Ship is flying through as well. Nice damage onto Oscar and Matthew. Can they get either of them? Not just yet. Okay, never mind. Analog gets the cleave down. Matthew falls. Dark Mago dead as well, and it was a nice rotation at the start to get Gardic, but they got a little bit too greedy, hoping they could go in onto Tiaras as well, but at that point, it just felt like they had used so many of their resources that it was kind of wishful thinking, and you got to assume Hokori's going to mount some sort of response in that scenario. Now they're taking a stack.
Yep. That's what you need to be careful about. You show your hand a little bit too much. Analog just makes the easy TP rotation, throws a Ghost Ship into that arena, the reason why they picked this Kunkka, and you have to run. You have to wait, because you're not going to have that instant damage until much later into the game.
Good play down bot, though. Matthew rotates in, helping him set up onto Vitali, so still doing what they can to try and set Angel up for success here. Third highest net worth in the game. A couple of kills to his name now over the last few minutes, so things are looking up for him, and honestly, if you're NoPing, yeah, you made a bit of a mistake in the top lane, but net worth-wise, less than 1k, separating the two, all three of your cores hanging out, not at the top, but in the sort of top half as Elmisho wants it. He's got to be careful, though. Panda's here. They're going to try and turn into this 2v1. There's that Static Storm we were talking about. Dark Mago even coming in, looking to snipe out the kill with a spear, and he does manage to get it. So Matthew and Panda hand deliver a kill over to the Mars, and that was excellently done. I mean, Panda the whole way is basically baiting El Micho in, and the clock doesn't have the vision to sort of see that trap coming until it's too late.
And I'm a little bit curious why he is even there. I know he wants to play up on both the Disruptor and the Wind, but yeah, Vitali again just gets sundered, doesn't see it coming.
Yeah,
and this
got
Venno is not having a
home.
good time. Matthew? Oh, he's gonna go for Angel. This is a level 3 battery assault, so I guess he's got him.
Yeah, and this is something that sort of comes back to bite him in the ass a little bit. You saw Angel started that fight against Vitali by using the Sunder to drop him low as quickly as possible, and now that left him without that Sunder. Of course, the battery assault was going to make that difficult either way, but it's not even an option at the moment. Meanwhile, mid, Dark Mago getting jumped in on. Nice spear play onto Analog, though, to sort of turn that initial aggression back, and Analog very nearly dies at the tower shots. He will survive thanks to the bottle, while Tiaras cleans up the actual kill onto the Mars. That got pretty damn close, but Hokori are able to pull it out. And now, well, Misho's kind of prowling around. He's hit level 6 as well, so that hookshot is available if they want to give it a go, but it would really just be him and Gardic right now, and that support duo doesn't have the damage to make it happen by themselves.
And Gardic has been incredibly sneaky in this Radiant Triangle. He's been playing around this high ground ward that they don't know about just yet. Been sapping a lot of Oscar's XP in farming those Ancients. And actually, Oscar at pretty low HP top.
Bushwhack's going to lock him down. Homing missiles in there as well. They should have this. Oscar, good attempt. He gets the armor at least from the call, but at this point, I feel like a flare could finish him off. And, oh, nope, I was wrong.
Hook.
Okay,
nice.
Yeah, that'll do it. El Micho, flare wasn't enough, only level 1, so the hookshot gets the job done. But elsewhere on the map, Dark Mago pushed mid. Analog alone the last time Dark Mago lost this fight, but that was kind of because Tiaras was there to help the Kunkka out. In a 1v1 scenario, the Mars felt quite a bit more comfortable. So able to find that kill, and now in the west side jungle, El Micho's got to get out of here. He is in an awkward spot. He does have the cogs, though, but there's the glimpse to pull him in. The kinetic field thrown down as well. Matthew's even going to go for that focus fire, and El Micho dies, and Angel's even going to clean up a couple of those cogs. It's, 16 gold, but no reason to give the Terrorblade anything extra at this stage, as NoPing, good response. They lose Oscar there, but they're able to find themselves a couple of kills elsewhere on the map.
And this is where those positional errors are going to be incredibly punished by this Disruptor. You stand a little bit too far forward, you get glimpsed back, the play gets made, and it feels incredibly free for Panda Boot to make those constantly. And I think when they were killing Analog, he dropped a Static Storm on him as well. I don't think it was a true 1v1, but now you're making another attempt on Vitali's life. He's already had such a bad start.
Just doesn't get to play Dota at this point. Good ult there, just trying to get something going for himself, but that's not going to work out. 3-man rotation. Matthew, though, is very low in HP and doesn't have a TP.
It's a good smoke. If they can get these two heroes, this is big. El Micho's going to see him.
Good deny, okay. So they're not going to give up Matthew, but now you got Dark Mago trapped up inside of the cogs. Ghost Ship flies through to finish him off, and Hokori strike back. They lose Vitali, but they do bring down Dark Mago, and they forced the deny on to Matthew. So we're seeing a lot of back and forth here. Both sides looking to remain aggressive. Both sides finding success with these aggressive maneuvers. Part of the reason why we're still not really seeing anyone pull away, although the clock just went into the middle lane. He's going to try to go onto Angel. Vitali was kind of helping, I guess, but backed away pretty quickly, and now, yeah. Angel, I'm not sure he... Okay, he's going to sunder Matthew. That puts Matthew in a bit of a bad way as this fight's starting to escalate. Here comes Analog into the engagement, looking for that X onto anybody he can find, but not able to get it off just yet, and everyone's actually going to back away, although with Dark Mago sort of prowling on the back line, he's hoping that Hokori push further forward, and Hokori may very well go for it. Gardic's in with the sharpshooter. Going to be able to hit up Panda, gets him with the bushwhack here as well. El Micho needs to get that battery assault down, but the cogs will not trap. Panda's going to stay alive, drops the static storm onto those two supports. This is getting a little bit ugly. Analog, though, is in with the torrent. It's still not enough to kill Panda, but he finally gets the cleave down. But before he died, looks like Panda actually did glimpse Gardic back into that engagement, so this Hoodwink is just going to have to run. Matthew is trying to chase after him, and I believe they should be able to find this kill. There's going to be the shackle, and that's pretty much going to bring an end to it. Matthew finishes the job, but while all that's happening, Analog and Vitali are still trying to put damage onto the tier 1, but the Glyph is going to turn them back, and now with NoPing's heroes starting to move over in a defensive position, I think that's pretty much the end of their attempt.
And that's where really both of these teams have very similar tools. It's sort of the glimpse versus the X mark, and okay, Vanderboot trying to glimpse back El Micho to the fountain, doesn't want any more aggression to be played on his mid tower, but now NoPing have a pretty interesting setup. Hopefully the Venom Wards don't scout it out, but Dark Mago does have his Blink Dagger finished up, and he's trying to hide it, but they're just going
Yeah.
to X-Torrent him.
Oscar, though, okay.
Nice
He
call.
blinks in, gets the call onto the clock, but they don't really have a whole lot of follow-up right now. Oscar's damage is good, but not great. But there's the glimpse, pulling El Micho back in. Hookshot gets him over to the side as he's going to hit up Dark Mago. Dark Mago, though, will kill him with the rebuke. The problem is, he's still caught in the fight. Vitali's able to take him down, but now Matthew wants in. They're going to focus on Vitali. Angel coming in as well with the Metamorphosis, so they found one. Do lose their tower in the process, but now Oscar blinking in again. Got the call onto Analog, but his teammates really aren't here to back him up. Matthew's getting isolated off to the east, and Angel just really never pushed forward there. So NoPing are going to back themselves away. They lose two, they lose their tower, and the kill count may be even, but it just feels like Hokori got a little bit more out of that.
And they need to be cautious now because TRS already has his Aghanim Scepter. You're going to get online that little bit faster, and you're not cooldown reliant on the Gyrocopter, whereas Angel will now not want to partake in any fights for quite a bit here. And Oscar, he's trying to make these plays, but again, he doesn't have that backup damage. And I think they got the glimpse onto the Venomancer, but I think Oscar's just going to die mid now.
Was the most ambitious TP I've seen for a little bit. There's no way he was getting out of that one, and now he's caught. Homing missile hits, X marks the spot, pulls him back in, and now oh god,
Deny.
El Micho actually hooked in. Well, good play from Matthew, though, getting the Shackle Shot down, but Gardick's in with the Bushwhack. They're just locking down everybody. Static Storm from Panda, though, connecting onto Tiaras, so Dark Mago may actually still get out of here. He's trying to heal up with that bottle, does get the Spear Stun down onto Analog into, well, a little bit of extra damage, but at this point it just feels like this is so disjointed from NoPing. Everyone's low on HP as Matthew's trying to get away from Tiaras, trying to get himself out of there. Good kinetic field, but well, Tiaras is still going to be able to find the kill. Dark Mago, I don't know if you want this. He is so low. He's got to try and fall back. The call down is even going to get dropped while El Micho, yeah, he just mans up, goes all the way into the base. Tier 3 tower shots not going to bother him as they find that pick off onto Panda. Throws the flare out there as well, but by that point, Dark Mago's already back to the fountain, so you're not really going to get the snipe out. But Hokori pushing the envelope a little bit here. We'd seen a lot of sort of back and forth, but that fight is a clear and definitive win for them, and you see it reflected in the net worth 3k lead in the aftermath of that one, while Tiaras, still farming, still building.
And this is where you need to clean up your team fights just a little bit. If you're NoPing, you can't go for these missed jumps. You can't overextend because Hokori want you to overextend. They have the Venomancer slow, they have the X marks, they have the cogs. All of their abilities are so annoying once you're finally in it. And once Pandabu commits that Static Storm to be your reactionary save spell, sure, maybe somebody's able to walk away, but as long as these fights are going, they're going to heavily favor the Hokori side. And NoPing, you have Angel farming up, trying to make his timings as fast as possible, but you see, he's not going for any greed in his build. He's just trying to get a BKB so he can actually play against this Gyrocopter, whereas Tiaras, once he gets his BKB, that matters so much more for the Gyrocopter. It's just going to run through NoPing's lineup, and here we go. And they burst the gyro.
Oh,
no!
No. Tiaras, he gets knocked out of the Static Storm by the spear. That ruins everything. NoPing have to just run away, but Oscar, he's going to get stunned up by the homing missile. He's going to try and stand his ground here, looking for the TP home, but there's the hook shot to cancel. El Micho, I was going to say fast on the reactions, but really, he could have waited as long as he wanted. That's a free and clear shot to cancel that TP, and just not quite on the same page there. Dark Mago and Panda just honestly kind of mess it up a little bit. Tiaras was, I don't know about dead to rights, but he was certainly caught in that Static Storm had they been able to sort of keep him inside of it. And ET, you mentioned you can't really afford to not be on the same page. You can't afford to sort of whiff some of these opportunities. That's exactly what that was.
And I don't even think it's necessarily their fault. It's sort of coming down to the heroes that they've picked up for themselves. This is the second or third time we've seen this offlane axe picked up where you don't have a lot of damage coming from really either your 4 or your 5 here. You're all control based, And same with the mid Mars, where you have this very early timing where max level Spear and God's Rebuke does do a lot of damage, but we're moving past that already, and that's where Hokori can really itemize to tank through a lot of your early damage. And then where's your damage coming from? It's all coming from your Terror Blade, but he's playing foil to Tiaris's Gyrocopter, who feels like he can go for the Sange casually and then build up the BKB afterwards. It feels like Angel right now has to itemize to fight when he really should be trying to get his Scotty, trying to get his Daedalus, trying to get these bigger tiered items, but instead has to now wait for this BKB, and this is where Hokori are going to take a big lead, a big chunk of your map away from you. And I'm a little bit worried for NoPing now. They really need to get a successful team fight going. That's why they're trying to involve their Terrorblade right now with this BKB, but they miss this timing. It's going to feel pretty much impossible to play the rest of this mid game.
And now,
In
I
mid,
do love, yeah, we'll get to that in a second, as Elmisho is going to get jumped in on first, so, oh, okay, quick and easy kill. Oscar finds the pick, Angel's in there for the assist, very nicely done, but what I was going to mention is, I do love Analog getting that early sort of Heaven's Halberd play out there. It's obviously going to be useful against the TB, but if the TB is not involved, even shutting down someone like Matthew, take the Wind Ranger out of there, remove that sort of focus fire play. You mentioned with this NoPing lineup, they don't have a crazy amount of damage, so if you can take any of that away for even the slightest bit of time with that Halberd, NoPing are going to be even further sort of hindered in terms of their ability to find any of these kills.
and unfortunately for Hokori, NoPing, they have a very good idea, and that's if they can find El Misho, they know that he is the one that's going to be starting these fights. He's the one that's been starting the majority of these fights, with Analog being right behind him with those X marks. If they can take out the Clockwork, that will buy them a lot of time, especially with him as high level as he is. It's going to put them on maybe another 30-second timer where, again, you're going to allow Angel to farm up these few luxury items. He needs those higher tiered items, but that's something that Hokori are really good at. They're good at forcing their opponents into positions they don't like, so they very simply force the Roche, and I don't think NoPing are going to put up any contention here. The Venom Wards, the Ghost Ship, it's too much right now. And the fresh BKB on TRS.
Yeah, honestly, any attempt that they make would get spotted out so early that it's really not worth the attempt. And you see NoPing really paying it no mind. I'm not even sure if they do know, but even if they're aware, they're just going to have to let that one go. Tiara's picking up the Aegis for himself, and, well, Hokori, a pretty definitive advantage now. They've got 2 lives up on the Gyro, they've got Analog to set it up with the X-Play, and Elmisho, I mean, he's been so active to this point in the game, 5, 7, and 11 in terms of that stat line, so when you're involved in 16 of your team's 17 kills, you know that you're having that impact in that sort of position for a role, compared to Matthew on the other side, who has still been active, just not quite to the same degree, and not quite with the same level of efficiency either. So, getting maybe not everything you want here for Hokori from their lineup, but most things seem to be going their way. Now they're setting up onto Matthew mid. There's going to be the X into the Ghost Ship. Matthew locked down. Panda trying to help out, though, with the kinetic field. And that is going to be enough. Matthew will get away. Hokori didn't want to overcommit there for a support kill just in case there were other sort of heroes nearby. So, better safe than sorry. They don't get Matthew, but they don't really have to utilize too much there either. That Ghost Ship's already coming back up in less than a minute.
And that's where it's just mad respect for Pandaboo, where every single time they have gone for a dive like that, where they do dogpile on a hero that maybe they're glimmered, maybe they're a berserker called, maybe they're a little bit tankier than you otherwise would think, you get that static storm dropped on top of you, and that would allow possibly that counter TP reaction, and they just don't want to give it up right now. They want to allow TRS to siege a lot of these buildings. They want to push in. Again, time is the name of the game for NoPing. They need to get some of these items. Yeah, Panaboo. Nice glimpse on El Misho, so he's completely fine because he sees the Kunkka showing mid.
He was about a half second away from that hook shot, canceling Dark Mago's TP, so unfortunate, but TP force, Dark Mago is no longer hanging out in that bottom lane, but now Gardic has run into some trouble here. Static Storm's going to catch him out, but that is a static onto just the single support. It looked like Hokori were bringing in reinforcements, so the glimpse is actually going to push him away. Hokori, though, not giving up on the chase, as Panda's trying to get himself out of here, but there's going to be the missile into the call down. That'll slow him up a little bit, but Dark Mago blinking forward, getting the stun. Analog not able to finish the job just yet, as Panda is desperately trying to keep himself safe, but it looks like eventually he will be finished off. The Torrent should drop him. Meanwhile, Oscar was run down further to the east as TR has found that kill. So Dark Mago, he does his best, trying to get in there, throws the spear, buys a little bit of time, but Panda was so low and so slow that it is going to be 2. At least they get Gardic at the very outset of that fight, but 2 for 1 is going to keep Hokori sort of building upon this lead up to 4K now.
And fortunately, again, Dart, you see Angel make that way all the way to the top lane, starting to encapsulate the enemy team's jungle. They have some very good wards set up to allow this Terrorblade to farm relatively safely, but Hokori will take your objectives in return. They fix their bottom lane, they fix their mid lane, and they will inevitably force Angel to at least think about TPing back if they do want to prod that high ground, but instead they're going to take that triangle away from you, and someone does have to come up here to look for this Terrorblade. They're actually going to spot him out with that ward, so Angel needs to be careful with how he approaches here, but up until you get that Scotty on the Terrorblade, it's still not going to feel like Angel is going to want to show up to a lot of these engagements, and this is with the BKB finished up on the Mars. This is with some of your other luxury items being built up on your heroes. You see Oscar trying to finish up that Manta style that we know all too well. And this is risky when you go for this Manta style build on the offlane axe. Sometimes it feels like you much rather would have had that blade mail. You could possibly kill a few more heroes, and Vitali might be the casualty of war here. He's walking into 5 heroes.
Yeah. Quick to make the move onto him. Analog those here to try and help out. The ghost ship flies, but yeah, Vitali is already dead. The question now is, can NoPing find any more? Yeah, Panda needs that vision for the glimpse. Not able to get it for him. Good shot from Matthew there to try. Power shot flying through, but they don't actually hit anything. So it's just the 1 kill. 5-man smoke for Vitali is not bad, and it does give them a little bit more space to operate in, but they were kind of hoping for maybe a little bit more than that. At the end of the day, though, it gets them back into the jungle. It keeps the cores farming. Angel, in particular, will continue building towards that Scotty, and that's going to be the name of the game for NoPing right now. Delay as much as possible until the TB is ready to go and see where that sort of leads you to. But for now, they can't really do much more than what they just put together. They've got to try and avoid the sort of roving gangs on Hokori. They're still looking for this. You see him just hanging out in that south side jungle. Tiaras really doesn't seem to care too much. He's got Aegis and a BKB, so even if they jump in on him, he's going to be okay, although that Aegis is expiring in about 15 seconds, and his teammate getting jumped in on top. Where exactly was that hook shot supposed to go? I think he was anticipating that the creep wave was further along its path than it was, but he may still get out of here. They just straight up did not see him.
Yeah, and now
they're setting up.
Cautious because Pandaboo, he's caught in the middle of the rotation, and now Dark Mago's going to immediately turn back, and this is all time where Tiaras is farming in his own world, in the complete other side of the map with his Aegis expiring, and now you're going to have a full Satanic built up on that Gyrocopter. Of course, it is no Daedalus, it is no incredible damage item just yet, but you are so tanky, you are so robust on this Gyro, and that is, again, something playing against NoPing's lineup. At least with the Scotty built up by the Terrorblade, you will make that Satanic feel a little bit worse, but it's still going to be a Satanic. It's still going to feel like this Gyrocopter is going to be that much harder to kill in that Berserker's Call. And Oscar, again, when you go for this build on the Axe, it's a calculated risk. You're going to have a much stronger, maybe 30-minute mark timing where you're going to have the Shard, you're going to have your Manta, but it's a lot of gold that you're taking away from the map. And if you aren't doing plays like you did just now, where you get to steal from the enemy team, you're going to be taking from your own. And with how tight these items are becoming, Angel struggling to finish his Scotty, you're struggling to see anything come out of the Mars. He's trying to get a Deso right now. It really feels like they're going to struggle to progress item-wise unless they get a successful team fight, one that they haven't been able to get for a good 5 minutes.
But they may have the opening at this point. The Aegis has expired, and that courier that Oscar was able to snipe out with the ult, that
the ward.
Oh, they got it. They got the X. What?
He BKB'd.
Yeah. BKBing in the fountain to save himself. That's your 9-second charge, though. That is so unfortunate, but the alternative is getting pulled back into about 4 or 5 heroes. So Angel picking the lesser of those two evils, but now what I was just saying is maybe a little bit less true. I was thinking, you know, they had just killed off that courier, so the Satanic is delayed as it did have that final piece on it. So maybe there was a window there with the Gyro not having that second life, but with your BKB not available, Angel's really not all too keen on forcing this, but the fight's coming their way, whether they want it or not. Dark Mago's gonna be hit up. He pops his own BKB to get away. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Matthew and Panda get the 2v1 against Gardic, which they will win, but Gardic is certainly helpful and useful, but he is not really a linchpin right now for Hokori. They could still force the fight especially with El Micho waiting on that hook shot. 20 seconds left. So once he's got that back up, Gardick's death is really not too big of a detriment for them. And in fact, Analog is the one pushing his way forward. Gonna get hit up by the shackle right away, though. So not quite pushing as far forward as he would prefer, but NoPing's retreat is, I was going to say a little haphazard, but everyone's just sort of going their own way. The Delta split gets everybody out, and no further fight at this point. Meanwhile, Oscar continuing to farm his opponent's side of the map here. The Manta style has been finished, so he's going to start sending those illusions out here, hoping to sort of cut some creep waves, get some split push going.
And this is where they really do need to start to punish Oscar. I'm surprised they haven't placed a ward on the eye spot, something to scout out the axe. And ooh, if that bushwhack landed, that was an uncharacteristic miss from Gardick. That should have landed. That should have been a free kill on the axe. But I was going to mention before that with their rotations, they're making Angel do a lot of walking. He's going back and forth. He's not able to get the farm he wants. But now you were able to get that Shard Manta on the axe. You were able to get the Scotty finished up on the Terrorblade. This is a very strong timing they've just hit. Now they just need to find the initiation on anyone besides the Gyrocopter, I believe, at this point. It'd be lovely if they could find him, because I believe the Satanic is still dead on his courier for another 15, but they're not going to let him have it. And unfortunately, I think the smoke is going to whiff. They need to cut in just that little bit deeper, but if they can make the enemy triangle their home, they're going to feel very happy with themselves, because again, you get to send those illusions to both mid and bottom. You get to cut the waves, and you get to farm the enemy ancients. This is a home for pretty much everyone. This is the exact place where they need to play. Whereas now, unfortunately, Hokori got the earliest possible Roche timer, so they might not even be thinking about this on the NoPing side. They would actually really want to contest this, and I think in the back of their minds, they might be pinging it now. They might be trying to make a rotation over, but it's going to be too late. This is going to be your Shard, your Cheese, and another Aegis to Tiaras for basically free.
And I think at this point they realize how NoPing, even if we tried, we wouldn't make it in time. So they're going to back off Aegis into the hands of the Gyrocopter. Kunkka picks up the Cheese, and for now at least is holding on to the Shard. And it looks like he is going to keep it for himself. So the Tidal Wave will be his to work with, and that Tidal Wave is going to be pretty, well, potentially important against this NoPing lineup. They're very positionally based as, well, speaking of which, Dark Mago able to hit him up with the Arena. They found that kill. They're trying to get onto Gardick as well, glimpsing him back into the fight, as Angel is going to pick up both of those. Double kill for the TB, and now El Micho and Analog, they got to kind of clear out of the area. Not looking for another round of fighting. So, and you go directly into the Gyro and the Kunkka? Maybe not. Maybe you don't even really want to, even if you have the opportunity. So instead, NoPing kind of pick at the edges. They find themselves 2 kills onto heroes that were really just a little bit out of position. Not an egregious mistake there, although, well, speaking of mistakes, Matthew, that's a little bit too much. He's going to get hit up by the X, pulled back into the Torrent and the Ghost Ship. And he's creating quite a distraction, though. While he's doing this, Angel sent the illusions mid, and they do take a tier 2, so it is going to be a trade-off that I think NoPing are still happy with.
And now you have to be concerned if you're Hokori. Are we giving them a little bit too much space? This meta timing is really where they think they need to be aggressive. They need to consider breaking the high ground, where Angel is not going to feel very confident to TP back, play with his teammates. I think they need to run up the high ground pretty much right now, because if they give up too much time, Angel is going to look towards that Daedalus, and once he has it, we already saw how much damage he's able to do if he's playing on the backline. But with this Daedalus, those cores are going to start to fall, and Dark Mago,
this is quite the
BKB.
Yeah, quite the jump in. Dark Mago just eats the stun. The BKB does come out though into the Arena, and El Micho, he's kind of getting the short end of the stick on this one. Trapped up now inside of that static. I think it just clipped the Gyro as well, actually. So Tiaras wasn't quite able to provide as much backup as he initially thought. El Micho gets taken down, but this is still the push that you were sort of talking about, ET. They're going in for it, and NoPing have to mount a defense. The tier 3's already been taken, but Angel, he doesn't want to TP back. He's just caught in this dilemma, but inside the base, Panda gets taken down. Matthews pulled back by the Tidal Wave. He's able to get himself away with the Force Staff, but this defense is not going well. They're pretty much going to lose the entire top lane of Rax, and Angel has still yet to make his way back into his own base.
And now, all El Micho needs to do, he needs to get out the bottom wave. If he cancels Angel's TP, that's his game-winning play right now. But they're trying to go into Tiaras, but doesn't get the Satanic off most likely. No, he doesn't, but you trade out Dark Mago.
Buy back in from Dark Mago. NoPing, they're going all in on this one. This is their opportunity. Angel has now TP'd back as well, so they're going to look for this fight, but Oscar got picked off. He's dead for 50, no buyback available for him, and Angel's presence in this fight is not quite as significant as it would have been earlier on. By the time he actually rejoins, there's really not a whole lot left for him to do, as the top lane got cleared out in its entirety, and now Hokori are just going to go for the middle lane as well, but Dark Mago blinks in, gets the spear, they've locked down Tiaras, there's the BKB
Oh,
though,
no.
pops the cheese as well, still holding on to the Satanic, but he is dropping pretty rapidly. That Satanic's got to come out, he will activate it, but it's not enough healing. Tiaras will fall, Angel's pushing forward, Analog though with the BKB should be able to get away for the time being, but Gardic may not be quite so fortunate. He's going to get hit up by that Shackle while the Glimpse is going to pull the Kunkka in. He did X himself, but he's stunned up for so long, he can't pull himself back. And NoPing, I mean, they find those kills, but it just felt like they waited so long. They've lost a lane in the top, they've lost a tier 3 tower mid, and 3 buybacks expended, I believe, in that fight as well. So it was a very costly play for them.
And now this is really just all inning more or less on Angel, where you're saying, Angel, you got to carry us. We're not going to flub our initiations anymore. We have no more margin for error, but they have killed both the cores on the Hokori side, so they have an opportunity here. And there, you saw with the Satanic, I think, very uncharacteristic from Hokori. Gardic just didn't have sentries to push onto that high ground. I think if he was beating into that Glimmer Cape Mars just a little bit, he would have stayed at a higher HP pool just a little bit more, as well as popping his cheese really early.
Oscar
But
just jumped
yeah,
Almisho. Good stun to
it's a
start it
dieback.
off. Can they finish him? Yes, they can. Almisho's dead, as you said. Dieback there. Angel did drop low, but he'll sunder up Panda, so he's still in this fight. And the only buyback available for Hokori at the moment is actually the Hoodwink. So at this point, NoPing, they could just go for it.
They're gonna
Very
level it out.
tight window, though. Yeah, they're not going to take
All
that
of the
risk.
damage, though, they're going to actually just even up the racks, more or less, actually get an advantage in the racks. This is all the split push damage that Angel was able to do before. They let the illusions take care of everything. They're leaving themselves really no holes. Dark Mago's got the blink, but Vitaly
wow.
walked too far forward.
Okay. That's
And then he
way too
TPs out.
overconfident. I mean, yeah, you've got
That's
Analog
great
and
too.
Tiaras coming back in, but they weren't quite in position yet. And as you said, Vitaly is just a step or two too far forward, and the Mars knows at that point the Veno is so far forward, no matter what direction he chooses to go in the next second to 2 seconds, you're not outside the radius of the arena. So Dark Mago goes, gets himself a bit of a freebie there, and, well, for NoPing, it probably was good that they don't just go straight for the tier 4s with those respawns coming in. Would have been a little bit dicey, so now they take a pretty definitive lead, and they want even more. They've jumped Tiaras. Can they finish him off? The Satanic is going to get popped, but Tiaras, he's again not healing enough to deal with Angel. Angel's just pushing his way forward. Tiaras has to back off, but now Analog, he wants into the fight. They're going to try and finish off Oscar, but there's the Glimpse from Panda, actually pulling Tiaras back into that Static Storm, while Matthew goes to work with the Focus Fire. They need a little bit more damage, and they've got it. Tiaras taken down, dead for 90 seconds. They do have to sacrifice Oscar, though, but they continue to push their way forward. Spear stun, locking down the Kunkka. Analog low. Angel trying to finish him off. They will be able to find that kill. Kunkka dead with no buyback either, and they've actually caught Gardic out here as well. He's going to be falling too. This is...
I think this game might just end. They
Collapse.
have Glyph, but again, no buybacks. They were trying to farm him up in the triangle, and what a dunk from Oscar, actually getting pulled back into the Hokori line. And yeah, Gardic, he has to do something. They have to make space with this Glyph, otherwise I think this game might just look towards its end.
It might be over anyway. I mean, you've got Vitaly and the 2 supports to try and hold the line, but you look at them going for the tier 4s, they don't really have any reason to slow down, although, you know, that Glyph is going to sort of hold them back for a little while. But while that happens, Angel just got a Satanic delivered out to him, so really there is no shot to kill off this TP. He's got BKB up in 10, he's got a Satanic, he's got a Sunder. They're going to give it a go because they have to. They don't have any other choice, but it's very quickly going to fall apart here, as Vitaly will fall, Gardic dead as well. Almisho just sort of stuck on the outside of this fight, unable to do anything, as the Ancient will explode, and NoPing, I mean, they just surged their way to a victory. That was impressive stuff.
Yeah, and they got away with the greed. I really think Hokori, they needed to have wards in both the top and their own triangle to scout out the split push that was coming in from both Oscar and Angel. I think if they make those good plays, they really only made it to 1 or 2 times where they're able to catch the TB, make him TP back, TP home, push out the lane that they don't want to go to, and then have more opportunities to possibly catch him. But instead, they got to sort of usurp the Hokori timing that was those 2 Aegises. And I think what really broke their back was whenever they went up the high ground mid, let Angel get so much damage on both their mid and bottom tower, and then he gets to TP back with 2 seconds left on his meta. Of course they're going to take the fight after that, gets to finish a Daedalus as well. I think they just threw away their advantage a little bit there, because that's how the matchup goes in the TB versus Gyrocopter. You can be a lot more aggressive all the time, but you have to take the blows when it comes to the meta, and I really think just not really estimating the amount of damage coming out from NoPing. And you could even say maybe a bait coming out from NoPing because they did still have Oscar dead and just a fantastic spear from Dark Mago. But I think there were a lot of overestimations from how much that Tiara's gyrocopter could survive on the enemy team's high ground. And of course, you're going to get punished for that. That was without him even going past his BKB. He was dying during his BKB. And you saw that Scotty play in full effect where you try to Satanic, you try to lifesteal up, but you are not dealing enough damage. And I think if he went for that Daedalus, maybe he would be able to heal just a little bit more. But instead, they kind of throw away their advantage, throw away their lead, and they play directly into NoPing's hands.
Yeah, that was the thing that was so sort of frustrating from the Hokori standpoint there. You've got your gyrocopter, he pops a Satanic in 99% of circumstances. Once that Satanic is popped on your gyrocopter, he's good to go. He's going to heal his way through it, but the last, I think, 3 engagements in a row, we were sort of mentioning the Satanic was activated, but you don't heal through the damage that Angel is sort of dishing out against you. So, as you said, maybe the Daedalus would have been the call there, would have given him enough damage to really punch through and heal back up, but it just felt a little bit strange. And then on top of that, you don't have the healing from the Satanic at the point you need it to be, and he waited so long to actually use it as well. That's kind of standard stuff with the Satanic, but in that instance, the first time, okay, you got caught by surprise, Satanic's not as effective as you thought. The second time, now it's a little bit concerning. The third time is borderline sort of unacceptable. At a certain point, the adjustment sort of needed to be made, but as you were mentioning, I feel like by that point, Hokori were realizing that they had lost their window and they weren't sure how to get back into a position of control. So maybe a little bit of panic and a little bit of, again, underestimating what their opponents could do. So yeah, you make those kinds of mistakes against NoPing, you are going to get punished pretty heavily for it, as game 1 does go NoPing's way. So unfortunately, game coordinator is being updated here, so we can't bring you any sort of post-game stats, but we are going to be moving into game 2 of this series just as soon as the coordinator decides that it's done with its break. So game number 2 going to be coming up. We'll see if Hokori can put together the same sort of start to the game, but maybe get their timing and their sort of opening a little bit more coordinated with themselves here. So we are going to be moving into that one. Again, we got to wait for that coordinator, so it might be a bit of a longer wait than usual, but as soon as it is done updating itself, we'll be moving on. So stick around. We'll be bringing you game 2 in just a little bit.